Today, I'm the greatest of all time.
The headline, Pete Rose is out of baseball.
Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Ryan.
Oh, I can't believe that. I can't believe that.
For so many of us, it was our decade. There was no Chase Field. Certainly at the time, they were dreaming of someday having Major League Baseball. It is 80s night at the ballpark. We are at Chase Field. I felt like that was Madonna's Like a Virgin video. We welcome you inside of the yard. It's the Florida Marlins going head-to-head with the Arizona Diamondbacks on 80s night. All the action is on Fox Sports Arizona. You see the DeLorean there. You can see the Ghostbusters car. All the good memories. All the good memories. Hello there, folks. Welcome back to the ballpark. He is Mark Grace. My name is Darren Sutton. Glad to have you with us tonight. And for you, Gracie, take us on back. Your professional baseball career began in the 80s, but who was your favorite player in the 80s?
You're right. I was drafted in 1985 by the Chicago Cubs and actually played in the major leagues at the end of the 80s, but it didn't matter about what my guy was. George Brett. My favorite player was George Brett. Keith Hernandez ran a close second, but George Brett was the guy that really all the kids in my neighborhood wanted to be. If you were a left-handed hitter, you were always George Brett.
And was a guy that hit for average, hit for power, made a run at 400, one of the best.
Oh, without a doubt. And he was just a dirty uniform, a guy that was always taking the extra base, a guy that was always diving down the third base line to save a double, and a guy that drove opposing managers batty, if you will, and also he could go after an umpire or two.
Yeah, he went after an umpire, did so with some passion, played the game with a lot of passion, and a very big part of baseball in the 1980s. There's no doubt about that. For me, mine was Robin Yount, because he played a couple of positions, played him very, very well, played him at an MVP level, a three-time All-Star, was a teammate when I was a young man of my father's, helped the Milwaukee Brewers in 1982, beat Jim Palmer on that last day of the season, played deep into the postseason. Of course, Milwaukee was put on its ear by two guys, Paul Molitor, who's about 4 on my list, and this man, Robin Yount. Signed out of Taft High School in Southern California, played the game the right way, and again, like George Brett, really skinny. All the good players really skinny in those videos.
Yeah, like I said, that whole era hadn't quite hit yet. These players did it the natural way. They did it the correct way. And Robin Yount, I was fortunate enough to have him coach me here as an Arizona Diamondback. We do not win the World Series without Robin Yount's work as a coach as well.
Very good stuff. Glad to have you with us on 80s Night. It's the Florida Marlins, the Arizona Diamondbacks. We'll talk about a bunch of players that were born in the 80s.
Get them,
the
George!
Bottom line. They were born in the 80s. Mark McClune will join us. He will tell us who his favorite player in the 1980s was. A rumor has it, it's John the Count Montefusco. Fox Sports Arizona, brought to you by Gila River Casinos, proud partner of the Diamondbacks, Colorado Tourism. Start planning your Colorado summer adventure today at Colorado.com. And by Southwest Airlines. Visit Southwest.com. Grab your bag. It is totally on.
Back in live in downtown Phoenix, set for Game 3 of the series between the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Florida Marlins. A chance to celebrate the decade that gave us Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Duran Duran, and two of the most memorable moments in baseball history, courtesy of your Diamondback manager, Kirk Gibson. Now, since we've been talking about favorite players from the decade of the 80s, I'd like to nominate Nolan Ryan from the great state of Texas. Of course, Nolan Ryan signed with the Houston Astros in 1980, the first $1 million player. Probably went out and threw his fifth no-hitter of his career. You see there a three-time All-Star in 1987. At the age of 40, he led the major leagues in ERA and strikeouts. You see the fifth no-hitter right here for the Houston Astros. One note about Nolan Ryan, not only was he a great pitcher in the 1980s, but he led off the 80s, his first at-bat in an Astros uniform, with a 3-run home run. And who can forget the 5,000 strikeout of Ricky Henderson in 1989. Skipped summer camp for that. Faked sick so I could go watch that game. It's 80s night here at the ballpark. When we come back, we'll take you down to Paradise City. Two guys that give love a bad name are calling the game tonight. Darren Sutton and Mark Grace. It's the Diamondbacks and the Marlins, and it's next on Fox Sports Arizona.
His eyes back in the 80s. Glad to have you back with us. Ian Kennedy completing his warm-up tosses. The Florida Marlins with Coghlan, Sanchez, and Ramirez getting ready to get things going. We will set the entire lineup for these Marlins here in just a moment as we walk you right through it. Their skipper, Edwin Rodriguez, interim skipper. Chris Coghlan, Sanchez, Ramirez, Cantu, Ugla, Ross, Mike Stanton. What a treat it's been to watch him play. Brett Hayes, the catcher. Nate Robinson, down from Detroit, actually began his career as a Florida Marlin. Ian Kennedy wheels and deals. We're underway. Glad to have you here at Chase Field. The number is delivered by the UPS store. Very good up until his last 4 starts. He is winless in his last 4 and his ERA over 7. But otherwise, for Ian, it's been a very good first full season in the big leagues. And that's one of the reasons why a curveball, and it's a ground ball, 1 out. Defensively for the Diamondbacks, let's take a look at them as Gillespie is in left, Young is in center, Upton is in right. It's brought to you by Jaguar.
We love our Jaguar sponsor.
Reynolds, Drew, Abreu, and Ryle. I second that as Snyder works with Ian Kennedy. Miguel Montero making that great play last night. Banged his knee against the signs behind home plate. So,
oh, what a great play that was.
Miggy given a day.
We're going to have to see that again before the end of the night. What a fabulous play that was. Snyder's going to get the call tonight.
0-1 the count to Gabby Sanchez. Little number right off the end of the bat, but it's a foul ball. You couldn't tell what he banged against, whether it was his forearm or his knee. Ended up that it was his knee that troubled him the most. Said, I'm okay, though. A little bit swollen around the kneecap area. Could go if they need to. He's available to hit. See if he has maybe today and tomorrow off. Pitches high, 1-2 the count. I mean, why not? Ask a lot out of him in the second half. Gabby's delivered quite a bit. 299, 9 home runs, 38 batted in.
This boy can hit.
He can really hit, and runners on, he gets better.
Ooh,
change of pace, strike
three.
Hit
that one. That was a thing of beauty there by Ian Kennedy. Good to see him come out with some confidence. Very crisp right out of the gate. Not nitpicking, trying to hit corners, just making his pitches. Look at the bottom drop out of that changeup. Right over the top of it goes Gabby Sanchez. Great pitch.
Well, you summed it up. I think you nailed it. It's coming out, throwing strikes. And start against Chicago. He was batted around pretty good. It was a 9-4 loss. A lot of 2-0 counts, a lot of 3-1 counts, of course, 2 starts ago. Inexplicable, a 9-walk outing against Tampa Bay. That's not him. Here is Hanley Ramirez. Breaking ball bounces in there. 1-0 the count. The all-star shortstop for the Marlins. 292, 13 homers, 53 batted in.
Something else you never saw in the 80s. Baseball players wearing mouthpieces.
No, that's right. I noticed that last night.
You see a little more of it now. I know one of your favorite players, Eric Burns, wore a mouthpiece there the last couple of years.
You're right about one thing. 1-1 the count. He did wear a mouthpiece.
But you see more of it now.
The 1-1. Fastball in. Good pitch there. Backs him out of there. 2-1 the count. Guess if you do that, you just want to keep those choppers in place.
Yeah, I guess I should have done that when Sean Dunston was making those throws to me. Should have had a mouthpiece over there and a chest protector.
There you go. Now you're talking. 2-1 the count to Hanley. Fastball, rocket shot into that Diamondbacks dugout.
I'll scatter the boys a little bit down there in black.
2-2 the count. Mel and Kirk Gibson, pitching coach Mel Stottlemyre Jr. He's all in one piece. Though he's been in pieces most of the first half, as much as he's had to deal with his guys. Going to see a smile on his face.
Well,
not quite sure what just happened there.
Is that something with the 80s?
Outside, 3-2 the count.
Take Me Out to the Ball Game was written in the 80s. That's true.
1880s?
Oh.
I don't know.
Well, okay.
I'm not quite sure what happened there. I think somebody
scared me.
Push play on the cassette or the 8-track. 3-2 the count with 2 outs. Hot shot, foul ball. Rob Drake, friend of the show, was on there to make the call. What a nice play down there.
That was a nice play by one of our Golden Glovers down the left field line. That was Mike Galloway making that play. Attaboy, Mike. Nicely done. Who we got down the right side? I mean, doesn't let it hit the wall, just makes the play. Nicely done. And down the right side, we got Dominic Chiarello.
Well done. Line drive, base hit right field, picked on a fastball. Ramirez just touches first as that one is thrown in by Justin Upton.
Really just a good at-bat fastball. He just keeps his hands inside and just drives it over into right field for a base hit. He can run. Ian Kennedy going to have to pay attention to him.
Couldn't tell it on that base hit, but he really can run. He's got 16 stolen bases. Not to be confused with a good, hard, aggressive turn. Here's Jorge Cantu. There he goes. As we said, he can run. 17 stolen bases. And for Kennedy, with Kennedy on the mound, 7 stolen bases, 4 thrown out.
He just didn't pay attention to Hanley Ramirez. Nothing Snyder can do. Good throw, but just ahead of it is Ramirez. And just like that, now runner in scoring position. Cantu with a 1-0 count.
Ian Kennedy has never faced these Florida Marlins. Hence, a lot of these hitters outside of spring training. I would imagine he saw some of them in spring training when he was a New York Yankee down there in the same region of the country. Pitching in the Grapefruit League, not the Cactus League. Cantu, though, 10 home runs, 50 batted in. He's having a quiet July, hitting just 179 this month. 89 right on by him. And that's when you know Cantu's not where he wants to be, when Kennedy can reach back and come right down Broadway at 89 on 2-0.
Well, it's just tough to sustain the year that he was having in April and into May. I mean, he was just beyond hot. And when you're going cold, even when you hold your swing up, the ball finds a way to hit the bat. And now you're 2-2 instead of 3-1.
And he was in between. You're in between a lot too, aren't you?
Exactly right. I mean, that wouldn't even been a check swing. But it finds a way to hit the bat, and now that opens up the arsenal for Ian Kennedy. He can throw any of his pitches here in the 2-2 situation.
He steps off thinking about things. He's gotten a swing and a miss with the changeup. That's how he got Gabby Sanchez. Has a swing and a miss changeup to right-handed hitters as well. Has the big curveball, or he can spot the fastball. 2-2. It's the fastball right by him. And you learn when you watch this game of baseball long enough, whether it's in the 80s or in the 2010s, up a couple of decades later, that sometimes it's about what's in the head and how much further you are ahead of us. Again, Kennedy, I think, threw that pitch there because he thought that Cantu was looking for something soft. Ah, the mustache.
That's when you need Clay Zavada.
Changeup ran in.
Oh, they're peppering that dugout. What is going on, Mel's saying? Yep, it's time for a Donnybrook.
Whoa, hey.
Like, what did I do? Gibby just now coming back up.
2-2 the count.
I think those Marlin hitters are doing that on purpose.
Do you now? Well, that's a different story if that's what you think. A little chopper, and it's a foul ball.
Cantu's putting a good at bat here on Ian Kennedy.
I mean, I'm going to trust you in your experience in this game. It's time to drill someone there.
Yep, I think so. Hanley Ramirez, now Jorge Cantu.
So you can do that.
Intentionally hitting foul balls right at Kirk Gibson and Mel Stottlemyre.
All right, then.
You can see they're trying to do it. You can see how upset those two are.
If we could get Kelly Johnson to move, we don't need him getting hit. It's one thing if Stott takes one off the shoulder. He'll be just fine.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
We can't have Kelly Johnson getting hit. So, Kelly, if we could move you down a ways.
Please.
Jack, Hal, Gibby. Coaches are all okay. As long as, they don't get hurt. The 2-2. Fastball is low. 3-2 the count. We obviously kid, folks. We can hope for a brawl, but we do kid. 3-2 the count.
Gotta get some blood pumping. Those Pier 6 brawls.
On 3-2. Instead, it's a bluff. And can you sense, folks, those of you watching at home, that this entire 80s night has allowed us to let what little hair we have down, have a little fun? We hope you're all right with that.
You have to. Baseball's supposed to be fun.
Well, he walked, and with a changeup, that's frustrating.
Well, after two very quick outs, Ian Kennedy now up to 22 pitches here in this inning. It was like all of a sudden after Ramirez got that base hit, back to feeling for things a little bit, back to nitpicking a little bit, trying to be too fine instead of just believing in himself.
Kennedy began his career in the big leagues with the New York Yankees. Made 12 starts as a Yankee. Yeah, he threw just 6 pitches to the first 2 batters. 6 total, 16 since. Here's Dan Uggla. That one is a changeup and it's high. 1-0 the count. I'll talk about it. Yeah, back in the 80s, you didn't see that a lot. Guys were, if they felt like they were going to be follically challenged, they, put the wig on and did the comb over. Now it's kind of hip to just clean it up.
Yeah, be bald. Bald is beautiful. I mean, it doesn't hurt once in a while to put a little hair on there. Maybe a little longer for Joel. Joel, there you go. What do you think?
No, I don't like it. 1-0 the count.
Nope.
Fouled back our way. The Governor made an effort. It's his night tonight. Greg Schulte bobblehead night tonight. Greg Schulte, the radio voice of the Diamondbacks since their inception. 2000 game.
Giving him a standing ovation down underneath.
It's got some hair on it when it comes up here. I can tell you that. We got a little dent in our. That one is low and inside. Congratulations to Greg, though. Well deserved and a fun night. It's always, when you're a broadcaster, you've been around for a while and you've done your thing. There he is. When the players are coming up saying, hey, it's your night tonight. Have fun. 2-1 the count.
Broadcasting icon here in Arizona.
He's coming in the 5th, by the way.
Good. Well, he's done it all. He's done Cardinals, Suns, ASU. He's even done high school sports.
2-2 the count.
Everybody got a governor. Gas.
Ball blew him away.
There you go, Ian. That's how you do it, son.
Cantu comes in at 3rd. Left-hander Nathan Daniel Robinson, 32 years young, out of Wichita State. Was a Marlins 5th-round pick in '99.
A shocker.
He was a shocker, and it was a shocker when he was traded to Detroit, but he did good things there on a couple of occasions, a couple of very solid campaigns. This year trying to find himself again in the National League. 17 start, a 4.94 ERA, 6-6, is not pitching deep into games. But taking the ball every 5th day as he fires a strike. 0-2 the count. And in a very important year for Tigers baseball, he was a winner. 13 wins, a 3.84 ERA, his finest season, over 200 innings pitched the year that they fought their way to the World Series and lost to the St. Louis Cardinals. Steven in that leadoff spot, hitting 186 against lefties this year. 295 against righties. I would imagine right away doing some self-coaching, reminding himself what Gracie always says, keep that shoulder closed against the lefty. A little topper, and it's a foul ball.
If you can spoil the tough ones, a mistake might follow it, and you can hammer that one. It's all about staying alive. I'm sorry, Darren.
No, that's all right. I was going to say our good friend Joe West is calling balls and strikes.
He's a very good friend of the show. 3-2. Most likely a fastball situation here, leading off the game. Went with the slider. Nice job right there by Stephen Drew, fighting it off.
In 152 separate occasions, Stephen Drew has been a leadoff hitter, a .282 hitter in his career at leadoff, .337 on base. The 3-2. There you go.
Good at bat. Very good at bat by Stephen Drew.
Let's take a look at the entire starting lineup. It's brought to you by Southwest Airlines. A lot of the guys I would imagine after tomorrow's game will be hopping on Southwest Airlines, flying wherever they are going during their break. It's Drew, it's Abreu, it's Upton. Young, Reynolds, there's Rusty. Chris Snyder does the catching. Cole Gillespie is in left, and Ian Kennedy, or IPK as Gracie likes to call him.
I do.
Batting ninth. Abreu takes low. 1-0 the count to Tony Abreu. Well, they've got a great picture of Tony. They've managed to dig up from back in the 80s.
Boy, he had a lot of hair. Well, did he have to sign off on that? Because that's a terrible look. Oh, Tony. It's just unfair what they did to you. Miss Pac-Man in the background.
There's a strike. Oh, that's not a real photo?
Well, I hope not.
Tony was born November 13th, 1984. In the Dominican Republic, Puerto Plata in the Dominican Republic. I think that's what we'll find tonight as we, in a lighthearted way, think back to the 80s in baseball. Most of these guys were born in the 80s.
I would imagine the majority of them are.
The 2-1. Bouncing ball off Robertson. He'll seek it out as the baseball sought him out. That's an infield hit. Tony Abreu. Abreu, a much better July so far than he had a June. 5 for 12 to start this month.
I think it finally, his injured hand, feeling better, is right off the derriere there of Nate Robertson. Everybody's safe. Infield hit for Tony Abreu. Well, Diamondbacks in business out of the gate.
Hey, talk about these Diamondbacks as Justin Upton digs in. And their age, they are the youngest average batter's age position players in the game. As Justin takes strike for 3 years running, they have been. Oh, and 1 the count to Upton. That one dives outside.
Oh my, look what they did to Justin, Darren.
I can't tell. Is the hair moving in that shot? Bouncing ball. That's a foul ball past Matt Williams.
What was the movie where they had to use the Soul Glow?
Made in America?
Coming to America?
Coming to America. Coming to America. 1-2 the count.
Oh, poor Justin. Very comical, though.
Hot shot. Look out, Joel. He has to get out of the way of that bullet.
Still pretty nimble, Joel. Nothing to it.
Justin 6 hits in his last 12 at bats with a runner in scoring position.
Just missed inside.
2-2 the count. Couple of runners out there. Upton looking for an RBI. Robertson looking for his 7th double play of the year. And a solid take there. That would have been it. A ground ball that would have hurt.
You send the runners here, Darren? I do.
Why?
Stay out of a double play and show big-time faith in your number 3 hitter. To take it if it's a ball and hit it hard if it's a strike.
They don't go, but there it goes. Driven into right center field. The play is made. Tagging and heading to third is Stephen Drew. All-star Chris Young. Now we'll look to pick up for that productive out, as you mentioned. Home run derby. Chris Young as well. We found out before the game. He shared some thoughts about it.
So it's a once-in-a-lifetime chance, probably, maybe for a guy like me, and I'm excited about it. A home run derby is you used to seeing, Barry Bonds and Prince Fielder and Ryan Howard and those guys. So I'm going to go out and have a good time with it, no doubt. I'm going to go out there and have fun.
So Chris Young getting a unique opportunity. As you said, his good buddy and teammate with a productive out sets him up where a fly ball will get him another RBI.
Well, he got the pitch he wanted. He just came up empty.
Don't throw him right at the belt. Either down the middle or away. And I would imagine those 4 away are Amica Insurance Zone. Line drive left. The throw is way off the mark. So Abreu takes advantage. RBI there for Young. 61 runs batted in, and he better find Justin Upton.
Doggone right. It's good fundamental baseball right there. Get him on, get him over, hit it to the left field. Whoa! Holy Moses, that was a lousy throw. And because of that, Tony Abreu heads up, moves into second base. In scoring position for Mark Reynolds. Nice inning so far. Leadoff walk by Stephen Drew. Tony Abreu an infield hit. Long enough fly ball by Justin Upton to move Drew to third, and then the sac fly and some good base running behind it. So a good fundamental inning right here so far in the first inning.
And it was great. You could see Young heading back to that dugout, leaning over the rail. Right next to the pack was Justin Upton. You cashed in on my productive out. Way to go. Two and 0 the count. High pop up towards that roof. Coughlin stays with it and hauls it in. So Mark Reynolds is erased, but a couple of productive outs, and we've got ourselves a score. Together, we'll go far. And by Sanderson Ford, Arizona's largest Ford dealership. Science!
Is that Thomas Dolby?
Sounds like getting a ride to the ballpark when I carpool with Gracie. Always this song playing.
Well, I've always had some Thomas Dolby in my 8-track tape.
0-1 to count. Cody Ross, 7 home runs, 46 batted in, a big swing, and it's fouled into the seats. For the sake of comparison throughout the evening, we'll talk a little bit about the 80s and then how it compares to the decade that just wrapped up, the 2000s. Single season leaders, pitching, hitting.
All right.
Some of the differences. If that's all right with all of you at home. Bouncing ball, Abreu throwing. Got him!
Wow. Didn't think there was a way in the world he was going to get Cody Ross on that play, but got a lot on the throw. I think Tony Abreu, if he's going to have a position every day in the big leagues, it's going to be second base, Darren. I mean, that ball is on the left side of second base from left field. Tony Abreu gets him by a step. Got plenty on the throw. So impressive.
Speaking of impressive, this young man, Mike Stanton, has shown, even though he's 2 for 8 with 3 strikeouts in this series, why he is here. Southern California prep pick out of high school. And he is a guy that could have played for Pete Carroll at USC when he was there. Football. He was the star of his basketball team in Notre Dame and the San Fernando Valley.
Change up for a called strike. Beautiful pitch.
With all that being said, Mike Stanton's a pretty darn good baseball player, too.
I think he picked the right sport.
Two and 2 the count. Let's start off comparing some of those decades. You can see the most ever in a season. Andre Dawson in 1987 hit 49. Of course, Barry in 2001, 73 home runs.
Gosh.
Inside. 3 and 2 the count.
A little different era.
And a difference of 24 home runs.
A little bit different era.
Well, you think back, and if that's when you maybe started to fall for the game of baseball, folks, there are some great names from that decade. Locked him up with a fastball. He knew it. Heads right back to the dugout.
Looking for something off speed. Well, what do you get? A fastball right down Broadway. And even before Joe West rings it up, Stanton was on his way back to the first base dugout.
Here's some of those names we were talking about. Most home runs in the 1980s. About that. By the way, happy birthday, Andre Dawson.
Happy birthday, Hawk, if you're watching back home in South Florida. And thank you for all you taught me when I was a young player. You taught me a lot, and I hope at least a few times I made you proud.
Bouncing ball out to the third baseman. In time for the out. A couple of fine plays defensively. It started with a one made by Mr. Abreu. Fields back in the background. Great stuff. Arizona leading at 1-0. Best baseball moment of the 80s. Text along with us. It's tied to our show personally, certainly. Gracie, Matt Williams, down there on that coaching staff, friend of the show. My dad and his 300th win. Kirk Gibson, the skipper. That one may be one of the greatest moments in baseball history.
Not quite as great as my rookie year. So I think you're going to have to go A.
36929. Gibby gets a big chuckle out of that one. 36929. A, B, C, or D. That one runs inside. 1-1 the count. Well, there's so many great ones. I'm waiting for an E. You're not gonna E yourself, are you? Can't be E, Darren, when I'm A.
That's a great point. You're going to have to come up with the E tonight.
Shouldn't do that to Pops, though, should I? I mean, he's C.
No, that's true.
There's Rusty driving it into right center field. It's a base hit. Ryle since June 7th against lefties, 7 for his last 17. And of course, we were talking about Matt, his big Grand Slam first base coach. Oh, he's back to the normal pitch.
That's so much better, Matt Williams. You know what? I called his beautiful wife, Erica, and told him I can no longer see Matt Williams in those bell bottoms.
Oh, my goodness.
Get back to our era, Matt Williams. There you go. A little old school.
Why would he do that? Let's bring in Mark McClune. Big Mac, where you at?
Well, after a couple of losses in a row, Matt Williams really wanted to change things up. So last night and the night before, put on a pair of Mark Reynolds pants. They won the night before, so put them on last night. But after the loss, he has changed back to that 1980s look.
Very good stuff. Hey, Big Mac.
No, that wasn't the 80s look. That was all the way through the 2000s.
Well, he actually, you remember part of the broadcast team last year. I don't know if the two of you were here, but he actually dressed up for our 80s night last year.
Did he now? There's a bouncing ball. There's one. Good hard slide, but it still is a double play. So a couple of quick outs. I don't remember that. I must have been on assignment, and I think Gracie was on assignment. Look at this hard slide. I know Matt Williams like that.
That's what Rusty does. We've seen Rusty put a hurting on a couple of second basemen / shortstops. That's just good, hard, clean baseball, but unfortunately, it's still a double play.
Oh, my goodness.
That was 80s night? That is so big league. Wow. How come you didn't dress up tonight, Darren?
We were told not to. We were told we had to wear logoed polo shirts. I guess all
you
we're
and I
allowed to do is put our collars up.
You and I could have had that fabulous look.
One and one the count. Pop foul. One rattles around over there, and it's a souvenir. Anytime the D-backs score 6 runs or more, Taco Bell gives away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day. 1 and 2 the count to Cole Gillespie. Cole fights that one out of the catcher's mitt. Up into the seats it goes.
Stay in the seats. There you go.
Cole born in 1984 in Portland, Oregon. I do have a vote. Kurt Zacher, our fine statistician on our text poll, says E. I vote for the World Series title won by the Minnesota Twins. Swing and a miss. That's strike 3 after a single. I guess you didn't like it. Sorry,
World
Kurt Zacher.
Series title for the Twins.
That's what he voted for.
folks. What a special year that was in '88. Totally outshining Kirk's home run against Dennis Eckersley in the World Series, and the Dodgers, with no knee. Thanks, folks.
Oh, boy. 1-0 the count to Nate Robertson. Diamondbacks lead it 1-0. Over the inside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike the count. Robertson this year, 5 of 24 with the bat in his hand. Handles himself all right. Has only struck out 5 times.
That means he's semi-dangerous. Swing one up and around the letters. You better be pretty quick.
Kennedy was born in 1984 in December, 6 days before Christmas, 1984. 25 years old. He was born in Huntington Beach, California. Right back to the screen. All these 80s babies. Which means that if we were upright, walking around, attending school, earning a living, starting our lives, that we're officially old. If these guys were born in the 80s.
And you're significantly younger than me.
The 2-2. Got him with a fastball.
You haven't hit the big 4-0 yet, have you?
I did this past winter.
Oh, did you?
I'm officially old.
Yep, you are.
The single season hits leaders. You're not going to see as dramatic of a difference here. Wade Boggs, 240 hits, 1985. Ichiro, that's, of course, a major league record.
262.
For a single season. So that'll top any year, any decade in the history of the game.
But Boggsy's got a much better stash.
Yes, he does. George Sisler was asked to step aside with that 262 hit season. By the way, 7 innings being played between Philadelphia and Cincinnati in Philly. Scoreless ball game. It's a good one. Young man Travis Wood, left-handed pitcher for the Reds. They just keep bringing him up. He's perfect through 7 against the Philadelphia Phillies. Perfect.
Unfortunately, he's going against Roy Halladay. He might not be perfect, but he hadn't given any runs up.
No, he's right there with him. We were listening to Josh Johnson tell us yesterday, Gracie, in our interview with him. He's faced Halladay twice. Halladay against him one of the times through the perfect game. He said, I live to face guys like that. The 3-0 is a strike, 3-1. Josh Johnson truly has evolved. He has always had the stuff. He's always thrown hard. I would imagine they'll find out real soon that he's starting the All-Star game for the National League.
I don't think there's any doubt. I hope he does. I'd like to see the National League get off the schneid. They're going to run in no particular order. Josh Johnson, Roy Halladay, Ubaldo Jimenez. How about Adam Wainwright? How about Tim Hudson? Tim Lincecum? Did Chris Carpenter make it?
I don't think so, but I'm not sure. That one is popped up. A trio coming together, but it's into the seats. The most hits in the 80s after we had the single season leaders. Robin Yount, Eddie Murray, Willie Wilson. That's a good name to mention.
Willie Wilson, a former teammate of mine for a couple of years, as he was winding down with the Chicago Cubs.
The 3-2. Hanging around, fouling it off.
I think for about a 7 or 8 year period, Darren, when Willie Wilson was in Kansas City, I think he had to have been the fastest player in baseball.
I would agree. By the way, Carpenter is an all-star.
He is an all-star.
Don't want to overlook him there.
Needless to say, there's a lot of good pitching the National League's going to run out there.
And on the hands, it's fouled off. Just for the sake of discussion, some of the pitchers you may see, some of them in the American League. Texas Ranger pitcher Cliff Lee, John Lester, David Price, CC Sabathia, Jose Valverde, Mariano Rivera, to name a few. Lee tonight making his debut for the Texas Rangers.
I think he's down 1-0 early, isn't he?
That's exactly right. Top of the third, Baltimore 1, Texas nothing.
Oh, a changeup. Came back from a 3-0 count. Battled him with fastballs, and then dropped a beautiful changeup on him for strike 3.
This is the pitchers you were speaking of, my friends. Pretty good ones there.
Boy, and then at the end of the day, you can hand it to Big Jonathan Broxton. Giovanni Gallardo is no longer a part of the All-Star team. He got hurt. Heath Bell has replaced him with the San Diego Padres. Only fitting that a Padre got a pitcher on the All-Star team. That would have been one of the biggest crimes ever.
Pitch is low, 1-0 the count. So the fans in the National League selecting Yadier Molina, Albert Pujols, Chase Utley coming back from an injury. Hanley Ramirez. As there's a strike. David Wright, Ryan Braun, Andre Ethier, and Jason Hayward selected by the fans of the National League. Hanley will be in the home run derby.
Boy, that was a big rip right there from Gabby Sanchez.
Don't forget to log on to FoxSportsArizona.com for all your coverage of Arizona sports, college and professional sports, and exclusive behind-the-scenes coverage of the Arizona Diamondbacks as well. And the post-game press conferences. It's always worth listening to Kirk Gibson these days. Just about anything he has to say. Another good changeup. Get out of there, Ian. Snyder is there. He clears him out. He makes the play for the out. 1, 2, 3. That is 7 in a row set down.
How you can play right here at Chase Field by going to the interactive kiosk near Section 111 during Arizona Diamondback regular season home games.
Well done. I've been asking you all week long. Great read.
Yeah, it was a struggle. Let's not kid ourselves.
0-2 the count to Ian Kennedy.
It was the best one yet.
It was the best one.
It was a battle.
Did he go around? He did not. You know when you'll get it, when you really feel comfortable with it?
When's that?
When we called the game from out there at the Kachinko kiosk. When we broadcast the game from out there, you'll really feel comfortable.
Well, there it is, but it's a terrible idea. Why would we go out there and do a game?
I don't know. We get run out to the pool to do a game. The 2-2. Strike 3. Ian not so sure about that one. Perfect games, as we talked about one being thrown right now in Philadelphia. 80s perfect games.
Barker.
Coming up.
Rick Manning making the final out.
One of my favorites. There it is. Mike Witt.
Rob Wilfong over to Bobby Gridge. Tom Browning. And what was terrible color.
Was it Mike Witt's on the last day of the season?
Yes. Take it on home, boys. Nice going, though, Mike. See you next year.
Do guys on the last day of the season, is it kind of a don't call us, we'll call you guys disappear quickly, don't they?
On the last game, it's, especially if you don't live in the city you play in, guys have flights. Usually the last game of the season is a day game. Guys have flights to catch, so usually it's a quick shower, shake hands, and we'll see you in March. And lose my number.
We can now pick our own friends.
That's right. That's the old saying in baseball. Now we can pick our own friends.
By the way, Browning, the last no-hitter thrown by a Red, is the young left-hander throwing one for Cincinnati right now. We'll keep an eye on it. That game's in the 8th.
Did that get him? I guess not. Joe West must be giving it to Steven a little bit there. Another 3-2 count.
That one bounces into the dirt.
A couple of walks for Stephen Drew here. Some hard-earned walks. 2 good at-bats from Stephen Drew against the left-hander.
Don't forget, every time a D-back gets a home run this season, Fulton Homes will donate $150 to the Central Arizona Mountain Rescue Association. Tony Abreu, after Drew walked back in the first inning, picked up a hit right off of Robertson. This time he pops it up. And there to make the play for the second out of the inning is Gabby Sanchez. 2 outs in the 8th inning in Philadelphia. The interesting part of this perfect game to this point is it's tied, 0-0. Travis Wood, left-hander, Red's second-round pick out of Little Rock, Arkansas in 2005. This is his 3rd major league start. Here's Justin Upton. Diamondbacks scratching out a run on a young sac fly back in the first inning. That one sails high and away. 1-0 the count to Justin. Just 4 for 31 this month with 6 walks, 13 strikeouts.
Well, that's the one thing we've certainly come to know about Justin. And he does run hot and cold.
Coming to America. That's what you were talking about. The runner goes. Can't get it out of the catcher's mitt. Good to see Stephen Drew's now in scoring position at 6 stolen bases.
Just a great jump right there from Drew. And once Hayes can't get it out of the glove, it's a base hit away from being a 2-run ball game. Ball 3.
Infield, outfield, just about straight up for J.Up. Over the top, 3-2 the count.
Just got a little over aggressive there. Got tired of taking pitches, needed to swing, and swung one down out of the zone. Remember what your mom used to yell at you when you were playing? You swung it one down and away or something. Don't help him, Darren. Don't help him.
I do remember that.
Oh, Sharon Grace used to say that all the time to me. I know, I'm not trying to help him, Mom.
Young Travis Wood just retired the Phillies in order in the 8th inning. He is perfect through 8. The young left-hander for the Cincinnati Reds. And it is a 0-0 game. Meantime, into right field, it's a base hit. This game is a 2-0 game. The Diamondbacks on top for Justin Upton. 42 RBIs, and good to see. Makes contact, and in doing so, earns himself a steak, as the guys like to call him.
That's all it takes. By putting in play. And how big is the stolen base now, Darren? A breaking ball right off the end of the bat it goes. But Justin's just so strong, he gets it out there right in front of Mike Stanton. Drew scores easily, and it's a 2-0 ball game. Another good fundamental inning right here. A leadoff walk, steal second, score on a 2-out base hit.
Chris Young will be part of Home Run Derby for Major League Baseball.
And he will be thrilled to be there. That's good. By the way, I loved that album.
I think we all did. I think everybody had it.
Man.
If not one, a couple of copies of the Thriller album. Hey, why not? Take off, J-Up, whenever you're ready. Big swing, change of pace. Popped it up right side. Easy chance for Dan Upland. He puts it away, but an RBI for Upton and another run. The Diamondbacks lead it 2-0.
for the A's. So the old guys on the team.
The old guys, because we don't have any 19-year-olds.
I have a guess.
Okay.
I'm going to guess my old teammate, Augie Ojeda.
He is really old.
How old is he?
I think Augie's 35. Yep, 35 years old.
What year was he born? I don't feel like doing the subtraction.
1974, 5 days before Christmas. Pitch is outside. 1-1 to count. I'm going to go with Adam LaRoche.
Yeah, he's definitely an old guy.
To the right side. 1-2 the count. Let's see, he was born, they say 1979.
79, okay. Just barely. How about Rodrigo Lopez right there in the shot? The two Mexican stars.
Those guys down at the end of the bench talking about what it was like to face Hank Aaron. And play defense against him. And that's how old they are.
So we've got 3.
Of the what, 5? Is that what they said?
3 of the 5.
And they're active roster, right? Not disabled list players.
I'm going to go the next guest, Justin Upton.
He was barely born in the 80s.
Oh, that's right. Clearly plenty inside.
Just off the plate. 3-2 the count.
Let's see if he got it. It looks just about equally as far outside.
Fights it off, up and over the head of Abreu. And it's a base hit for Hanley Ramirez. Just getting around that first base bag.
That's just a really good at-bat by Hanley Ramirez. Again.
Inside out swing on that one, correct?
He's just so strong, Darren, that he doesn't have to hit a ball on the barrel to still hit it hard. Very impressive. Now remember, he stole second in the first inning. Ian's going to have to keep an eye on him. Or IPK, as you like to call him.
And he does.
Right down Broadway with a fastball to jump ahead 0-1.
Won the count to Cantu. Jorge has rolled into 9 double plays. Though Ian, not a ground ball pitcher, doesn't roll many of them up. He has rolled up just 5 this year. Well, the Reds come up empty offensively in Philadelphia in the top of the 9th inning. And so a scoreless ball game. 5 hits off of Halladay. Travis Wood goes back to work. 92 pitches, throwing a perfect game.
Wow. How many starts has he had in the major leagues, Travis Wood?
This is his 3rd.
Well, the Reds just, if they lose a starter like Aaron Harang, they bring somebody right up to just take over. Dusty Baker's got him a nice squad in Cincinnati.
He is going to have to do some very special work, because to throw a perfect game now, he's going to have to throw 10 innings. Should the Reds score. Edinson Volquez is back after the break. He gets back into that rotation.
That's really not going to help him all that much. Maybe a couple of years ago.
1-2 the count. Bouncing ball on a backhand. Wow, they turned it. Abreu unloaded a sidearm throw. That's twice. He has made a fabulous play. Don't want to overlook Stephen Drew, who started it.
Gorgeous play right there. It looks like, if you ask me, Abreu was very fortunate that Rusty Ryle wasn't coming down the line there on him. Ramirez gave him a bit of a break, and they turned it nicely. A beautiful turn.
Bouncing in there. As that one sails high and inside. Single season strikeout leaders as we get our uniform all back in place. The 80s, Mike Scott in 86, 306. Randy Johnson in the year 2000 and 01. Most of you remember, 372. Hot shot out to Reynolds. We'll keep an eye on things back in Philly. Meantime, here in Phoenix, Arizona on 80s night. 2-0, Arizona leads it.
What do you mean? That's not right. I'm handling the trades.
That isn't the way we say
I have
it,
the
George.
right to call you in the dugout anytime
That's not
I
the way
want.
it's going to be, George.
Well, you're damn right it is, and if you don't like it, you're fired.
You haven't hired me yet.
Classic.
That is beautiful.
Classic.
Beautiful, beautiful 80s baseball memory to be able to lighten up and have that much fun in the #1 baseball pressure cooker.
Do you think that will ever happen again?
I'd love to see it.
Well, just somebody get hired for the same team like 3 different times. Hired and fired like 3 different times.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I can't see that ever happening again.
Uh-oh. Mark Reynolds gives it a ride. Hop on board. Sailing up and out of here. Uh-oh is right. For the left-hander on the mound, Nate Robinson, 3-0. For Mark Reynolds, his 20th home run of the season. Another Fulton Homes owner, $150 to the Arizona Mountain Rescue Association.
Well, just a towering, majestic hang time homer. Plenty out of here. 20 long balls for now, Mark Reynolds.
By the way, the young pitcher for the Cincinnati Reds, Travis Wood, Carlos Ruiz leads off the 9th inning with a double. Broke up his perfect game. Tip of the cap to the young man in just his 3rd Major League start. He took a perfect game on the road against the Philadelphia Phillies into the 9th inning. Carlos Ruiz with a double broke it up. Still a scoreless ball game. 1 out in that inning. Rusty, of course, starring in Raging Bull back in the 80s. Pops that one up to the right side. Anyway, 3-0 the score. The Diamondbacks on top. Chris Snyder takes away. 1-0 the count. Greg Schulte is going to come on over and join us in the next inning or so, celebrating his 2000th broadcast tonight. We honor the governor on his bobblehead night. We'll take a walk down memory lane and give him the television opportunity to bury his fine producer as that one is lifted. Deep left field. Coughlin goes back. Chris Snyder. Did he bring it back? He did.
Oh, my
He got it.
goodness. What a great catch.
Took a home run away from Chris Snyder. The reigning Rookie of the Year went up and over that yellow line.
That is a legit home run robbery. That would have certainly been in the seats. Oh, what a great play.
Our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool play.
What were you saying about Greg Schulte?
He's coming over.
Oh, is he coming over in the 5th?
He's coming over.
All right.
He can on television bury his producer, Leo Gilmartin.
Well, we can do that on our own.
No, just better when the governor says it.
That's true.
Chris Snyder has home run number 10 taken away as that one bounces in there to Gillespie. Ground ball to short. Here has it along. Go nice dig on the other end by Gabby Sanchez. Highlight reel play. You will see this one time and time again. man, celebrating his 2000th game. You've been here for all of them, Greg Schulte. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Gracie.
My pleasure. Thanks for being here.
It's been a lot of good baseball, some not so good baseball, but it's baseball, and you got to love baseball, right?
Isn't that the truth? Yeah. Do you remember? I was watching from afar on television. Do you remember when it all started? Not only the lead up, but the first game, first games, first thrills for you.
Yeah, it all kind of runs together right now, obviously. But I remember '98, we were all in tuxedos. And I remember the best thing about '98 was everybody would come out to the ballpark. They'd get here early. They'd watch the roof open. They'd stay after the ball game, usually after a Diamondback defeat, and they'd watch the roof close. So,
really?
Yeah. It was a big thing. You know, it was, they had the music.
Off the glove. Yeah, you think you've seen it all. Here we go again, as Greg and I talking about. You never know when you might have seen it all. A 5-6-3 ground out. If you're scoring at home.
If you're scoring at home, Greg.
Yeah.
The dive. Oh, right to Stephen Drew. Throws across the diamond. He easily gets Cody Ross. Nice play.
So that's the way you do it. You know, if you can't catch it, you get it to your teammate over there, right?
Did you ever think you'd have your own bobblehead?
No. And I'm pretty humbled.
I
didn't. I'm pretty humbled by it. I think they're making way too much of this night, but it is special doing 2,000 ball games, and I'm honored to have a bobblehead. I'm glad they made me skinny. You know,
they put you in a nice suit as well.
Yeah, and I needed the Hawaiian shirt more so, but it's pretty humbling.
Driven deep right field. This gifted young man puts a charge into that baseball, and it is way out of here. Now give us some perspective. You've called 2,000 games, half of them here. A right-hander to hit it over the pool.
That's doing something right there. Gracie hit the first one into the pool, didn't you?
I hit the first one into the pool.
I like Stan, though. He's a good young player.
He's a big old hoss, isn't he? We've been going through the 80s, and we've been showing great players of the 80s like George Brett, Robin Yount, and players now. What have you noticed maybe since the 80s that has changed? Besides, the uniforms aren't as tight as they were back in the 80s.
Well, pitchers were throwing more complete games back then than they are now. And, nowadays it's 6 innings. You get to your 7th inning guy or your specialist, and then you've got your setup guy for the closers. So I think that's one of the big things right there. There are a lot of different changes. That's the one I think that I notice most.
Celebrating Greg Schulte as his bobblehead night marks his 2000th game as the voice of these Arizona Diamondbacks. As that one is fouled straight back to the screen.
Greg, besides Diamondback baseball, what are some of the great memories of some of the other sports you've done? Because you've done them all here.
Well, I was involved with the Suns when they had Charles Barkley on the ball club, and a lot of Arizona State games. I called a Rose Bowl win over Michigan. So there have been a lot of highlights over the years and a lot of great things. I moved out here in 1979 with my wife. Our kids were both born. In fact, I've got a son that's going to turn 30 here in a week, so I'm really getting old. But a lot of great memories of Phoenix. I can remember Phoenix, Darren, when the population, I think the whole area is about 600,000. And now, Phoenix itself is the 4th largest city in this country, so it's grown by leaps and bounds.
Yeah,
but
if you got to Shea Boulevard, you were so far north.
Yeah, but I love the area. I love all the teams here. I'm a firm believer. If you live here, you cheer for the Diamondbacks, you cheer for the Cardinals, you cheer for the Suns, you cheer for the Coyotes, you cheer for Arizona State. You can like your other teams, but if you move here, cheer for the hometown teams.
It takes a little while, and you build a fan base like that because a lot of us, like Gracie, like yourself, and like me, we're not from here, but it takes a while.
Yeah, I've been out here for 31 years. It took a while, but when I came out here, they had Arizona State, they had the Suns, and that was it. The Coyotes came along, the Cardinals came along, and it's a lot more crowded now, and with the economy the way it is, there's a big battle for the buck.
Is there anything you want to say to your partner, Tom Candiotti, out there? He's watching.
He better not be.
Yeah, he better be enjoying soaking up some sun. But, it's been a lot of fun. Candy and I are working a 6th season here right now together, and I had Rod Allen for 6 years. And, now Candy. So my other partners were Victor Rojas and Digger Phelps. So it's been it's been a great ride. I miss Tommy. I miss BB. I miss all the other guys we've worked with over the years. It's great to be with you guys right now. Fet's over there. Money, of course. It's been a lot of good times here, and I really enjoy my time here with the Diamondbacks.
Boy, look, Scott Snyder did some research to kind of bring everybody, and you've mentioned most all of them. But you start looking down that list of unique folks. We all love working with Joe. I know that's one of them. And Gonzo. Al McCoy.
The voice of the Suns, yeah. And
Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer. And I wouldn't be where I am right now with the help of Al. With Jerry Colangelo, Rich Dozer, Scott Brubaker, the Diamondbacks who came in here originally. And, of course, nowadays with Ken Kendrick and Derek Hall and company. So a lot of people to thank over the years. And I think this thing's going to get changed around. I think we all do. It's probably going to take some time. But, I'm looking forward to those games again where we've got this place packed up here. Grace, you remember those. We were talking tonight about 2001 in Game 7. And the Gonzo hit and everything else, but those white pom-poms
unbelievable
in the ninth inning. And if this man here, Mark Grace, doesn't get a hit to lead off that inning, we do not win the World Series.
Thank you.
I'll bank it on that.
Thank you very much.
Well, speaking of that, here's some of your moments, and feel free to expound upon. Some of them certainly are obvious, but as you see those listed out, what are some of your memories?
Well, Gonzo's hit, I mean, that, and Gracie, I know you feel the same way. I wish we could relive that thing because it went so darn fast. I think Mariano only threw 13, 14 pitches. And it just happened so fast. Randy's perfect game in Atlanta.
Little bunt. The only play is the first. Sack moves him up.
Opening night, of course, the first time we ever played baseball here at Chase Field. Tony's game-winning hit into left center field that scored Danny Bautista come flying across the plate.
How many big hits did Tony Womack get that whole entire season?
Yeah, and the double to tie things up in Game 7 of the World Series and set it up for Gonzo. But a lot of great moments. And again, we'll get back there. It may take some time. It may not take a lot of time. Who knows? It's a great thing about baseball. You don't know what lies, ahead tomorrow,
especially in this Western Division of the National League.
Exactly.
2 outs. Here's Chris Coughlin. And this is another opportunity for you, as we promised our viewers we'd give you a chance to either thank and or bury Leo Gilmartin while you're over here.
Well, it would be easy to bury Leo because we usually do that every night. But, Leo's been a lot of fun. He's been with us since 2001. John Michelson was our first engineer, and unfortunately John passed on after the 2000 season. So Leo came in his first year. He thought, hey, this is great. 2001, I got a World Series. We're going to do this every year.
That's kind of what I did. I came over here from the Cubs, and wow. Now, I came over because I didn't want to face Randy and Kurt anymore, but ended up winning the World Series.
You didn't want to get one in your ribs from Randy anymore,
man.
right?
Yeah, that was a painful one.
But, Leo, it's always nice to have that friendly face in there night in and night out, and he has been a constant for me through a lot of different broadcasters that I've had in the booth with me. But Leo's been there from almost day one.
I know it's 80s night, but I am told that we have a gift from our producer, Margarita, who all the games you did on television was your producer inside of your closet there.
Look at Brenneman and Brindley.
What is Brenneman and Brindley doing in there?
Oh, my goodness.
On the line. Hey, got him. Greg, congratulations.
Thanks, Darren.
This is well-deserved tonight, my friend.
Nice going.
Greg Schulte, we all know him as the Governor, celebrating his 2000th game right there, bobblehead night tonight. Unbelievable video. Mark Rita, unbelievable. The Return of the Jedi. 80s movies on 80s night. You see Darth Vader is down. Bringing us the pictures in the ball game. 1-0 the count. Greg Schulte, congratulations, my friend. That was wonderful. And thanks for stopping by and for being here for all of it. Foul ball gobbled up and in time for the out. We were so busy talking with the governor that we forgot to answer all the guys.
Oh, man. We forgot. We got, what, 3 of them?
How about Aaron Heilman? Did we say
Aaron
him?
Heilman got to be in there.
There we go.
And then
Chad
Qualls. Look at all those old guys on the team.
Golly. That's 5 guys right there. The Geritol core of the team. Here's Stephen Drew. Right down the middle, strike one.
I heard the bullpen phone go off out there. Ian Kennedy's thrown 5 innings, giving up a run. Seems like he's okay.
It's kind of confusing, isn't it? The guys are stretching out there. A little nubber, it's fouled off.
Maybe just a call to see maybe what Glenn Sherlock wants on his pizza.
89 pitches for Kennedy through 5. Hot shot on a breaking ball. Base hit right field for Stephen Drew. He's been on 3 times tonight. Couple of walks and now a single.
He's having a nice night against the left-hander Nate Robertson. A really nice night. A breaking ball stays down and in, and he just swats it through the right side, goes down and gets it. That's pretty hitting right there. Well, that'll make him smile.
And the bullpen conversation is over down there, but no one throwing. It's interesting listening to Kirk Gibson the other day, by the way, speaking about his members of the bullpen. We have shared with you that on their own, the relievers and position players have separated in their pregame stretch. Relievers go way down the left field line. Position players stay out front of the dugout. This is all at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, as that one is in there for a 6:40 game. The other part of it is Gibby was making it very clear that when I call down or my pitching coach calls down, I need you ready quickly. That means I may need a batter or two. So if that means move around, stretch around, get your blood flowing regularly, he expects his relief pitchers to warm up very, very quickly. He said, I got to be ready to make decisions, and I need you. Speaking of decisions, one is made by Sanchez, but he gets a break.
Yeah, nothing you can do if you're Stephen Drew there.
So Abreu reaches on a fielder's choice.
Gabby Sanchez doing some button hooks, but the ball stays right in front of him. He grabs it easily and gets Stephen Drew.
So here is Justin Upton. He takes a pitch that is high and away. There's one area in the National League when these Diamondbacks travel where relief pitchers and position players exist together, coexist, and it's a dangerous mix. It's in San Francisco in the same dugout area. Well, now here for the Diamondbacks, there are the position players stretching, starting pitchers taking batting practice, and all the way down. We'll see it in a few minutes here as that one is up and away, 2-1 the count. If you travel on down, relief pitchers getting ready for the game.
That's old school. That's the way it used to be. Yeah. Mel Stottlemyre down there working with his pitchers.
The 2-1.
Get on down there.
When Gibson was asked about it, he said they did it themselves. The guys got together and decided it themselves.
Really?
I don't know if I believe it.
I'm not buying it. Not for 1 second.
Oot?
But that's it, yeah. Beat it.
High pop, long run. Stanton racing over. Still coming. He gets there. And he puts it away. No relievers needed, not yet, though. 3-1 is the score. There.
Darth Vader used a stun gun on me. One of those
pitiful.
lightsabers. Terrible.
Well, you're ready for the All-Star break here. Your likeness, anyway, as that one is belted. Gabby Sanchez, center field. Chris Young going back. Bounces off the wall. And Sanchez with a two-bagger. He can hit. 1 for 3 tonight.
All of a sudden now, Hanley Ramirez the tying run.
Here's Hanley Ramirez. Fouls it off. Hey, by the way, the 1980s versus the 2000s. We've been talking about that a lot. And we've been comparing decades. George Brett, OPS, the best ever single year.
Is that
11-18. Barry, 14-22. An all-star OPS is about 850. All-star caliber OPS about 850. 1,000 is top 10 in the league. And I know you like that one. That one into center field, Young. He is there, makes the play. Sanchez in with the slide, moves on up.
Very good base running there by Sanchez. A good productive out off the bat of Hanley Ramirez.
You bet. We've been having a lot of fun tonight. Bottom line, though, that's a huge run. Makes it a one-run game if he scores.
Right. OPS or not. That's just good base running and good productive outing. Does that count for OPS?
Absolutely.
That counts against your OPS, doesn't it? When you move a runner up like that.
Well, sure it does.
Yeah, it's a bad stat.
Counts against your batting average, too.
It's a bad stat.
So batting average is bad. Heard it here
yes,
first.
It is. Yes, it is.
Gracie's a big believer in VORP. As that one is a line drive center field. And here come these Florida Marlins manufacturing double. Productive out, fly out to center, and Cantu with his 51st RBI of the year.
Kind of a trend here is their first pitch fastball swinging. 3 batters in a row. So Chris Snyder and Ian Kennedy are going to have to make an adjustment here if Ian Kennedy is to remain in this ball game. I would imagine Kirk Gibson might be on his way out to make a change. Esmeralda Vasquez.
And that was the second phone call. Gibby's starting to move around. In other words, hurry it up. Gibby looks primed and ready to go. He switches over to the next set of steps.
Here he comes.
He calls for time. Ian not wanting to come out of this ball game. Gibby's going to make the change. Kennedy walks off. We'll step aside. Esperling, I hope you got ready quickly, my friend. It's expected. Kansas City Royals. And then, of course, played for the Raiders. Esmeralda Vasquez gets ready to go to work. And nobody played more games in the 80s than Dale Murphy. Eddie Murray had the most RBIs. But Bo knew baseball for quite some time. Pitches up and in, 1-0 the count. That was back in the day when Bo hit 32 homers, 105 RBIs, batted .256, and folks were aghast that he struck out 172 times. Line center field. Sperling ready to roll, ready to go as he gets Dan Ugla on the pitch away. Most RBIs in the 1980s. Murray and Murphy. Boy, Dale Murphy, we haven't talked about him enough. A big part of baseball all over this country because we were watching him like people were watching you come of age, gracing the big leagues. He was a big part on nationwide television on TBS in the 80s. And Braves baseball. Atlanta Braves.
Skip Carey talking about Murph a lot. Never forget back in those days, one of the greatest bench clearing brawls of all time with the San Diego Padres and Atlanta Braves.
I need that tonight.
Oh my gosh, that thing went on for an hour. Oh, what a changeup. I mean, that brawl went on for an hour.
Didn't they have fans chucking beverages down and everything?
Sure. Champ Summers going after. It all started with Pascual Perez,
Imagine
I believe.
that.
Yeah. And then I can't remember who was getting drilled after that, but a lot of guys got. Greg Nettles ended up charging somebody. Oh, that was big league.
1-1 the count. Fastball, changeup, slider for Vasquez. That fastball is a fly ball, and he beat him at 95 miles an hour. Young puts it away. Vasquez was ready to go when his manager needed him. Despite a frustrated starter, he wraps it up. Sitcoms, movies, The Breakfast Club, Guns N' Roses, The Cosby Show, and the saying, "What you talking about, Willis?" I personally voted for Where's the Beef, but that's all right. It's all good. Good memories from the 80s. Boy, look at Matt Williams is rolling.
I want to see that grand slam. I haven't seen it yet.
You haven't seen it?
I mean, I'm not sure it even happened.
Well, since when, by the way, I'm going to be a little offended. Since when did 300 wins not matter?
You know what?
A little upset. About to walk off.
Oh, come on, Darren. Wasn't.
Hey, you think 300 wins grows on trees, folks?
Didn't hold a candle in my rookie year.
Hello? No 1-1.
Yeah, I mean, I had 298 that year.
Looks like everybody's out there winning 300 games in the big leagues.
Banged out 7 long balls.
Outside, 3-1 the count.
Come on, Darren. What Don Sutton ever do better than that?
The 3-1. It's ball 4. Matt Williams talks about that grand slam.
I don't think it happened.
Off of Nolan Ryan. Matty, tell us.
Well, I was a very young player at the time, and kind of trying to feel my way through the big leagues. I had friends in town in San Francisco and had very little rest the night before. We'll leave that at that. And proceeded to go out there and get a pitch to hit and swung as hard as I could, like I always did, and happened to connect. I think career off of Nolan, I'm something like 1 for 13, 10 strikeouts, a couple of pop-ups, and a grand slam. But at least he's in the book.
He is in the book. Good memory. Eddie out having fun. We'll just leave it at that. Chris Young got lucky, by the way.
And Nate Robertson showed very little athleticism right here. And Chris Young's got to remember, Nate Robertson's left-handed, so he can see him leave early. He's facing him.
Again, he tried to take off on him, as you said that.
Okay. See, left-handed pitcher can see you doing that. Now, if it's a right-handed pitcher, he's got his back to you. I like it, though, Chris. Give him something else to think about.
We watched for the longest time when, number one, Young wasn't reaching at all to steal bases. And then another part of that time was when he lost his confidence when he was on the base pad. So this is, as you mentioned, good to see. So 6 innings and 5 runs allowed as Cliff Lee makes his debut for the Texas Rangers. He's down 5-0.
Yeah, he's getting drubbed.
Meantime, the man facing him, Chris Tillman, pitcher for the Baltimore Orioles, has thrown a no-hitter through 6 so far. He's throwing a no-hitter.
Yeah, he's the non-household name.
That's exactly right.
Well, the Texas Rangers know his name now.
So far, Lee has given up 3 home runs in that game. Misturis, Markakis.
Man, he's no good.
Well, hopefully if he struggles, maybe after this game, if they let him go, the Diamondbacks can pick him up.
Cliff Lee? Yeah, I just don't think he's a good fit for Texas. I think he needs a change of scenery. I mean, he can't even beat the Orioles at home.
1-2 the
count.
Yeah,
we'll take that stiff off your hands. Come on over here.
That one is low, 2-2.
Get Mel Stottlemyre to work with him a little bit. Get him right back on track.
Tiptoeing off the bag. Crowd frustrated with it. Mark Reynolds, by the way, a long ball back in the 4th inning.
Saturday, July 24th, the first 15,000 fans will receive a Mark Reynolds replica jersey courtesy of Gila River Casinos. Diamondbacks are taking on the Giants that night. Call 602-462-4794. Visit dbacks.com/giveaways for tickets.
Mark wanted to call time. Instead, he drives it to right field. Stanton goes back, makes the play. Young tags. Mark was trying to call time with Joe West. Joe didn't grant it.
He just called it too late. Nothing he could do. He almost drove one out of here. That would have been cool. He just called it too late. There's really nothing Joe West or Mark Reynolds can do. Just got to deal with it.
It's interesting. Kirk Gibson there wanted an explanation without a smile.
Well, I think also Joe West immediately came out to Mark Reynolds and said, hey, you know, I'm sorry, there was nothing I could do right there. It was just a tad too late.
Kirk Gibson talking last night about his team pushing a play like Miguel Montero made, smashing against the rotating advertising signs behind home plate. Gibby said, I'd like to see what I saw last night on a regular basis. As that one is a fly ball right field. Stanton heading over. He is there and he makes the play for the out. He said, I've talked to the guys about it and I keep talking about it. I want to have a more even push, to quote the manager. I'd like to see what I saw last night on a regular basis. Plays like Montero fighting back in that game.
Well, I don't think lack of hustle's really been the problem this year. Maybe here, maybe there, but I don't think that's been a recurring theme by any means. Do you?
No, I don't. Maybe focus.
Okay. Yeah?
And I think that's more the alley for Gibson. Because he went on to say, I'd like to push mentally what they can handle. I don't want to be unfair. But he said, as opposed to saying nothing at times when things go wrong, like we saw there, maybe asking Mark Reynolds why, he said, I'm going to err on the other side. I'll talk as opposed to saying nothing. And he said again,
I like that.
I'd like to push what they mentally can handle. This is all before the game today. That one is belted. Snyder. Here.
Chris Coglin's not bringing that one back.
Nope. That's a huge home run. Adding on just as the Marlins are creeping back in. And it's another Fulton Holmes home run, $150 to the Arizona Mountain Rescue Association.
He absolutely blisters this ball on a line way out of here. Look out, folks. Well, those 2 out long balls like that just demoralize an opponent. Now a little more breathing room again.
West high-speed internet, high-speed pitch. Robertson and Kennedy. And Snyder sailed out at about 110 miles an hour. Nate gives up the 9th home run of the season as that one sails in. And Chris Snyder, Snide Piece, as we like to call him up here, with the long ball.
It's one of the better nicknames.
Well, it is. That's a fly ball center. Cody Ross playing to Shella. And is there to haul that one in. Snyder had one taken away in the 4th inning by Chris Coughlin. No one taking this one away. Somehow I think he knew that. On this date, 1934, in the All-Star Game, the consecutive strikeouts of Carl Hubble. All the likes of Ruth, Gehrig, Fox, Simmons, and Cronin, all in succession. And don't forget, Major League Baseball's All-Star Game coming up this Tuesday, live from Anaheim, Orange County, California, 5 o'clock, only on Fox. You never know what you will see. We'll see our good friend CY out there representing the Diamondbacks in the Home Run Derby on Monday night, and then on Tuesday night, the All-Star Game. And then on Wednesday, we won't see Chris at all.
No?
Or Thursday. Then on Friday, he'll be back for the Diamondbacks.
That's exactly right.
The 2-0. Two and one the count.
Are we going to watch the home run derby down there in Rocky Point? Have we decided? Or do you want to just hang on the beach?
No, I'd like to watch it. I think that's an important part of it. Now, are we going to be down there by then, or are we going to go Salt River for a day and then down? Maybe day of the All-Star game we'll head down.
Well, I think Salt River, if you remember correctly, we decided to go up there right after the ball game Sunday. Because,
that'll be tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I think we need to watch the home run derby. Find a spot maybe, as that one is outside. 3-2 the count.
Richard Sines will be heading down there with us, so he knows all the good spots.
Oh, you told him.
Yeah, sorry. He was going to be down there anyway.
Fine Spanish voices on radio for the Diamondbacks. Not really a fan. The 3-2. Broke his bat. It's fouled down there. So we'll do it one more time. I kind of prefer Oscar Soria.
Oh, he's one of the best in the business. Him and Miguel Quintana do a great job on the Spanish broadcast. Oscar Soria.
So maybe he can come down with us to Rocky Point.
Okay, there's Oscar right there. There's Miguel.
Richard's already down there in Rocky Point. We might not be going down there now, since we know he's there.
Yeah, he's not a lot of fun to hang out with.
Outside corner, that's strike three. Stanton is done. But they do a great job traveling with us all the time.
Fastball to the outside corner. Mike Stanton thinks it's outside. Yeah, that's because it was awfully close. But Joe West rings it up.
The best single-season earned run averages. Dwight Gooden in 1985, a 1.53. Pedro Martinez in the middle of it all, a 1.74 ERA.
Era. A 1.74. Wow. He's one of the first, he'll point it out to you, too, that, here was this little skinny guy, Pedro Martinez, going through a lot of juiced-up offensive players. Kudos to him.
The 1-0 inside. You faced both guys, didn't you?
I did.
Do tell.
Doc, when he was healthy and when he was, and you know what I mean when I say healthy.
Sure.
Boy, he was something else. He was doing it right, doing it in his early 20s in New York, on that main stage. Pedro Martinez, he was doing it in Montreal. And, just a whole, doing it in front of very small crowds, not a lot of fanfare, until he got to Boston.
2-2.
And then, boy, his star shined brighter than ever. But two very different pitchers, but yet, one a little bitty guy, one a Doc Gooden, a very big man, a very large man.
Well, everyone talks when they're talking about Strasburg about Gooden. That's what we hear them talk about.
But boy, Pedro Martinez, a guy that even though he's a little guy, boy, if you faced him enough times, you're going to get your clock cleaned with a fastball under your chin. And the same with Dwight Gooden. You're going to get one under your chin just because you got in the box. That's all. That's just the way it was. And they both had the ability to make you really look bad. They could embarrass you.
The best earned run averages by starting pitchers in the 1980s. Gooden at the very top of the list. Oral Hershiser, number 2. John Tudor, Dave Dravecky, and Nolan Ryan. Boy, what a who's who that list is. Jack Morris, by the way, 133 complete games in that decade of the 80s. That one is fouled off. And by the way, the 133 complete games that Morris threw alone, more than any other team in this decade that just wrapped up. 133, and in the 2000s, Toronto threw 101 as a team. Jack threw more than any team in this past decade.
Isn't that amazing? Truly amazing. Why hasn't the Hall of Fame come calling his name yet?
If you ask Kirk Gibson,
doesn't make any sense.
Kirk Gibson's a good one to ask. A couple of years ago, I did a radio interview on Hall of Fame Sunday, and we were talking about Goose Gossage. Gossage, the first man that Gibson ever faced in the big leagues, of course, with the legendary home run against him in the World Series. We got on to the subject of Jack Morris, and he said, for me, he's a Hall of Famer. He said he was a winner. He was a big game pitcher. He pitched deep. He told the story of when the rare occasion when Morris would get knocked around a little bit and come in, and he said at the top of his lungs, he would look into those tiny dugouts in Detroit and say, I've never been beaten if you get me 10. And he'd scream at his hitters. They'd go out, Gibby and his mates would go to mash, and they'd probably get 7 or 8. He'd win 8-5 and go the distance.
Isn't that amazing?
He'd give up 5 in the first, holler at his offense for some runs, and complete the game.
I've never lost a game when you gave me 10.
So Gibby, in that interview, I'll never forget it, and I listened to it as Mike Lamb has the count 1-1, the veteran Mike Lamb. I went back when Gibby was hired and listened to it, and that stuck out to me, his comments. So that's a great question, Gracie, on Jack Morris.
He should be there.
1-2 the count. Robertson, 5 runs in 6 innings. He has not gone 7 innings one time this year. One and two the count to Mike Lamb out of Cal State Fullerton, a decade in the big leagues. Talk about a team with younger players. We told you how the Diamondbacks have so many younger players. These Marlins do too. There are 2 huge lockers in the visiting locker room here at Chase Field for the veterans beyond
guys,
veterans.
Right.
Well, I'll give you an example. Let's say for the Braves, when they came to town, it was Billy Wagner and Chipper Jones, the most service time. Wes Helms and Mike Lamb occupy those lockers. And kudos to them. They've had long big league careers.
Bob Doty, who does a great job in the visitors clubhouse.
But those aren't
long
service times.
In my Cub days, it was myself and Rick Aguilera.
There you go.
And when Rick moved on, myself and Kevin Tappan. Steve Wright, 3 nice inning there for Estelin Vasquez.
Nice couple of innings as he comes on. Diamondbacks bullpen looking to lock it down.
Joe Borowski, a couple of guys who not only thrived in the 80s, we survived them. Your favorite high point so far of tonight's festivities?
Brings back a lot of memories. I still watch Star Wars today whenever it's on TV, but I can't get enough of the music we're hearing tonight from Studio 944. That's it. I'm joining Gracie for the mixer after the game.
My favorite thing, Mark Grace's favorite band, Wham! Guys, back to you.
Wow. That's good stuff.
Jobo, you and I, man, it's mixer time.
Big mixer out there, huh?
Yeah, maybe we can find us a couple of babes out there.
Kelly Johnson did not start in this ball game. Burke Badenhop takes over for the 17th time this year. He goes to work. There's a strike over the inside corner. Kelly and the Karate Kid. 0-2 the count. 273, 14 home runs, 43 batted in. And he has been on a nice roll. When he signed with this club or started to turn his career back around, he hoped. He said, I love hitting in this ballpark. I always have. Well, he's proven it this year. He's a very solid hitter in this yard. 357 at home. Kelly hits this one a mile high to left field.
Follow Fox Sports Arizona's coverage of D-backs baseball on your iPhone, iPod Touch, BlackBerry, and Android with MLB.com at Bat 2010. Play-by-play, video highlights, and live audio broadcasts. Visit dbacks.com for more details.
Follow it on your droid, like that droid.
I'm going to ask a dumb question. What's a droid?
I think it's a type of phone.
Is it? Okay.
Like your phone over there.
Yeah, okay.
1-0 the count. It's like R2-D2, C3PO.
Like an android.
That's what it is.
Droid, okay.
That's not what the copy means, though.
So you can just kind of hang out with R2-D2 and watch the D-backs.
Yes.
It's big league.
Well, you write Star Tours at Disneyland while you're at the All-Star game. It all ties together.
Yeah, not very well.
3-0 the count. Somehow miscast. I think Jack Nicholson was much scarier than babyface Stephen Drew.
Wendy, I'm home.
3-2 the count. How about this? He's having a great
3
night.
walks.
And a single. He's been on all 4 times.
And he has officially got the steal sign.
Ready to get him going?
Talking to Kirk Gibson the other day in his office, Darren. He was nice enough to invite me in there. And one of the things he talked about was playing with the lead and focusing and going even that much harder playing with the lead late in the ball game. Not even if you got a 5 or 6 run lead. Not sitting there, messing around with the opposing second baseman or shortstop. Looking at your coach, trying, I might want to put a steal on of third base. Pay attention, because I want to bury the other team late in the game. I don't want to just play nice.
He was going. That's what you're talking about. It's fouled off.
Played hit and run right there. Got a pretty good pitch to handle, but fouled it off.
A little bit more on Kirk Gibson. Let's bring in Mark McClone. Big Mac?
Yeah, he kind of echoed the sentiments that Gracie was talking about pregame today, saying that he wanted his team to play like they're down 5 runs when they're up 6 runs. And over the last couple days, Gibby's been talking about his managerial influences, Sparky Anderson, Tommy Lasorda. And one name that came up is Darryl Rogers, who was the Arizona State coach here in the 80s. He was also Gibby's head football coach at Michigan State. And he said what really influenced him from Darryl Rogers was always pushing the envelope, and he thinks it's translated into sending guys like we just saw right there.
Perfectly said. Or as we mentioned earlier, the quote from today, I've talked to them about it. I want them to have more of an even push. All the time.
In other words, don't just push early in the game. Push just as hard when the game's 2.5, 3 hours old. Yeah, get a bigger lead, he's telling Stephen Drew. I like that. He's telling Matt Williams, tell him to get a bigger lead. And that's exactly what he's talking about. Trying to get Stephen Drew to be more aggressive. Maybe draw a throw. He might throw it away. It's a good lead right there. Yep, I'm all in.
I figured you would be.
You know me. You and I are both the same when it comes to the running game. We love the running game.
Let's keep watching. Steven has never had 2 stolen bases in a single game.
Which is unbelievable with his speed and his ability.
There he goes. And he still does.
Strike him out, throw him out. Tony Abreu took strike 3. In that situation, when you're running 3-2, you're not really trying to steal the base. You're just going to stay out of a double play, and when your hitter takes strike 3, you're usually a dead duck, and that's what happened.
Clock on Fox Sports Arizona. Alex Sanabia. Barry Enright is on the mound. Enright will have a chance to face up with Mike Stanton. They were picked in a similar spot in the draft a couple of years back. I think Enright a couple of picks ahead and starting to get his feet wet in the big leagues. Much better in his second start, no doubt about it. You'll hear from him. Had a wonderful conversation in his major league debut 2 starts ago, pitching in honor of his father, who he lost when he was 13 years old. So we'll have some thoughts about Mom, who we found out before the game today is from the United Kingdom. And so a unique family, unique history, the man out of Pepperdine. Jordan Norberto goes to work. And he's left-handed.
He'll be facing left-handed hitting Chris Coughlin. He immediately jumps ahead with that big-time fastball. 0-1.
In your world, what's the only thing better than a left-hander in the bullpen?
2 left-handers in the bullpen.
Breaking ball is outside. 1-1 the count. Our Amica Insurance hit zone. He is pitched away.
Gas. Right on the outside corner. That's just a thing of beauty right there.
2-2 the count.
Ooh, didn't get the call there from Joe West. 3-2. Just underneath the kneecaps, evidently. And he got a break there. Coughlin checked his swing, but fouled it off.
Well, it's 80s night tonight. I don't know if I told any of you that yet. Gracie just finding out in this last commercial break. Bouncing ball on a backhand. There's Rusty. Throw behind. Nice job, Alberto. You got to be a little bit athletic to kind of stutter step, reach back. A lot of pitchers don't make this play.
Especially a left-handed pitcher, because he's got to reach back across his body, yet still make the play. Oh, that Jordan Norberto, he's going to come out of the game now. He got his job done again. Nice job, young man. Go get yourself a shower and feel good about yourself. Good to have you in the ball game. All we could use is maybe 1 or 2 more of you. Love my lefties.
Fans, check out BB.
On the latest edition of the 10th inning, hear what they did, where they went. Watch the 10th inning presented by Quest tomorrow, immediately following the game against the Florida Marlins. The 10th inning, fabulous show, love watching it. TV for grown-ups. There's a strike, 0-1 the count. Quick update, by the way, in Toledo, Ohio. As Toledo came up short, they took on Indianapolis, the Indians. The Mud Hens, a AAA team for the Detroit Tigers. Rick Porcello, 7 shutout innings, 7 strikeouts.
Man. He's going to look great in the D-backs uniform.
Is he coming?
Well, why would you give a score from Toledo otherwise.
He's set to come back and pitch in the big leagues for the Tigers. That's why I gave it.
So?
We saw him earlier this year.
Good to have Rick Porcello on board.
2-1 the count to Gabby Sanchez. Two and two the count.
You got him coming on over, huh?
No, I just happened. Jim Leland said yesterday he's not available. He's coming to pitch for the Tigers. I just thought I'd give an update.
Oh.
He's ready to come back and help the Tigers out.
Okay.
2-2 the count.
All right.
Rumor has it there were a lot of scouts at that game from many big league clubs, though.
Oh, okay. I got you. Many big leagues.
Shot, base hit, left field. Gabby Sanchez on a backhand. Nice play out there and left. How about that? Cole Gillespie grabs it with one away, keeps him at first.
Heilman threw a couple innings here last night. And the first batter he faces one out, singles, and now Hanley Ramirez going to get an opportunity.
Drops down a bunt, being a beauty. Heilman barehanded play, throws it away. They're going to stop the runner at third. The runners are on second and third with one out. There'll be an error on Heilman. Fielder's choice and an error. Let's watch again.
Well, we've seen Heilman hurt himself a couple of times recently with throwing errors. Comes up with the bare hand. Yeah, it looks like he's got a pretty good grip on it. He just throws it up the line. And unfortunately, Mel Stottlemyre having to make a trip out to have a conversation with Aaron Heilman.
No sacrifice, an error on Heilman.
They didn't give him a base hit?
No, sir. Just a straight error, so they're assuming an out on that play.
That's tough scoring right there. I kind of like a base hit and an error there.
Base hit and an error, or a worst case scenario, sacrifice bunt and an error. So that hurts his bat. Hanley Ramirez has his batting average hurt by that.
That's not very good scoring.
Nice job, Chris Snyder, putting his nose on that baseball. Jorge Cantu, phone ringing. Chad Qualls warming in the pen. Line to drill. Second out of the inning.
Well, that gives me an opportunity to tell everybody, get the latest back-to-school gear already. From the D-backs on Sunday, July 25th. First 5,000 kids receive a back-to-school binder courtesy of Panda Express. For tickets, call 602-462-4794 or visit dbacks.com. Is it back to school already?
Didn't summer just start?
July, 10th?
Didn't we just have 4th of July? Swing and a miss. 0-1 the count to Dan Ugla.
Oh, get your school supplies, kids.
That was a terrible read.
July 10th.
0-1 the count.
I'm just the good soldier. I just read what I'm told.
Oh, 0-1 the count.
Every kid watching right now is like, man, Gracie's already got us back in school.
Well, it's the age-old practice. Blame the messenger.
Yeah. I'm just the messenger, kids.
We've said that before up here. 1-1 the count.
High pop. Heilman pulled it back together, and a nice job. We'll be glad to deliver this message to you. But as we move along, the Diamondbacks lead it by a score of 5-2. Did you see her?
Terrible.
Nice job by Aaron Heilman after his own miscue. Good to see. Take a look at our out-of-town scoreboard. Detroit knows that they're rolling at home. They also know that they're getting a strong Rick Porcello back to the big leagues, as we told you earlier. They are beating up on the Minnesota Twins again. And Cliff Lee, a tough night. 3 home runs allowed. Travis Wood, that game, he went 9 innings, 1 hit, no runs. Congratulations to the young man. Philadelphia won it, though. He pitched very effectively. Dan Meyer on for the 13th time this year. Sure to join us tomorrow. We'll be back with you to wrap up the first half of baseball. Gracie and I, these Diamondbacks, these Marlins. And we'll see you a couple of days down the road for the second half, and enjoying spending the whole second half with all of you. Thanks for all your support. Through the good times and the bad, you've hung with us this first half, and we appreciate it. Justed up to the screamer to right field. Stanton is there. One talented right fielder to another. Hey, don't forget, Fox Sports Arizona proud to support Operation Homefront of Arizona, an organization that provides emergency assistance to families of military service members. During the month of July, be a part of the Back to School Brigade. Donate backpacks and school supplies for the children of military families. Go to foxsportsarizona.com for all Phoenix and Tucson drop-off locations. Pitch is low, 1-0 the count. Chris Young, all-star. Will be competing in the Home Run Derby. That'll be Monday night at Angel Stadium. 2-0 the count. So some of the guys that are confirmed for the Derby, as that one is low. Miguel Cabrera of the Detroit Tigers, he's in the Home Run Derby. Hanley Ramirez, Matt Holliday, Corey Hart, Vernon Wells, David Ortiz, and Chris Young. Some of the guys that are confirmed. Let's hope that Chris can put up a good, solid showing.
And let's hope he doesn't mess up his swing.
Mm-hmm.
He worked long and hard to get that swing back.
Popped it up. Like that, banging into the gate, finding out where he was. Well, you know where you are once you're stuck on that rail. That's a nice play.
Josh Hamilton still swears that, wow, look out, manager. Get out of my way. Let me make the play. Get out of here. Trying to catch the ball. Atta boy. This first baseman don't mess around on those pop-ups. Beat it. I got it.
Derek Brock, a member of that coaching staff, was pushed aside. Mark Reynolds right back to the screen it goes.
Wait, folks, we cannot have Matt Williams grand slam off Nolan. First of all, that's a legend. We don't even know if that happened or not.
Yeah.
So,
you know what makes him legendary, Nolan Ryan? He won 300 games. Where's 300 games? It just doesn't matter anymore?
How many of those 300 were in the 80s, though?
No, it's 300th win. It's the one day. It's the winning of the 300th game.
Oh, okay. Just the name Sutton just doesn't carry any pull around.
Well, I tell you, you folks are really down on me.
Come on, folks. We got to get past Matty. Come on.
We need really, honestly, let's be honest. What do we want on this show? We need Sutton and Grace moving up. Even though I had nothing to do with any of it. I probably made it harder on him winning the 300th game.
Come on, folks.
Coming in past curfew.
Start texting A.
Returning the car with the gas tank empty. Joe West.
Not mowing the grass on Saturday. Maybe going out and playing ball instead.
So feeling sorry for my father, vote for him. Because he's my father. And then vote for Gracie because, well, we don't want Matty or Gibby in there. Even though Gibby's moment may be the greatest in the history of the game.
Yeah, I just... Yes! Come on, folks. There you go.
We need some movement in the 300th win.
See, it's already up a percentage point.
Grace and Sutton moving up.
There you go, folks. I like it. Good listening.
Grace moving up. Sutton moving up, too, though. Come on now. Really, there's no more of a narcissistic group of broadcasters than Gracie and I. 9%. If we could just get into double digits. We need Matty down to about 8% as Mark Reynolds draws the walk. 10%. Now we're talking, and Grace is in the lead. Just keep. There we go. There we go. We need Matty at about
by Matty
0%.
As we speak. Yeah, we need Matty down to like nothing.
Plus, he needed Alka-Seltzer to hit that home run. Advil.
Gibby trying to get Matty's attention. I'm sure he wants to probably send Mark Reynolds right here.
You guys think 300 victories just grows on trees, I guess.
Thanks a lot, folks. Oh, that magical rookie season, 1988 for Mark Grace. Oh, it'll go down in infamy. 298.
Now we're talking.
Oh, don't let Gibby pass us, though, folks. Come on now. There you go. Yeah, that wasn't a big moment in baseball history. That home run.
1-1 the count.
I remember yawning as it was leaving the ballpark. Let him catch us, folks. Come on now. Oh, he's catching us.
We need Matt in single digits. The 1-1. Pitch is high. 2-1 the count. We're going to get to the point where players won't even give us sound bites like Matt Williams because we'll just take them and use them against them.
Well, there's really no proof that Matt actually hit a grand slam. I mean, there's no video of it.
The 2-1.
I mean, at least with your father, we've got the proof. We've seen it on video.
Absolutely. Andy Ramirez coming on in.
Wait. Whoa. Wait a minute. What's going on there?
And 300 winners, they don't grow on trees, folks. Don't forget about that. It's a lot of victories.
Folks.
Hall of Fame.
Folks, please. I haven't won a Legends race all year.
Now down below. Oh, good try there, Gracie. You almost had it. Instead, I had to go and catch it. I got it. I caught it.
Did you catch it?
I caught it for you.
Thanks. Who wants it? Who wants it?
The 3-2. Popped up. And into the seats it goes.
See, that's worthy of texting for me right there, because I gave him that ball.
That I caught and gave to you.
Well, that's true. You did catch it and give it to me, but I gave it to the common folk.
So vote for the 300th win.
This is terrible. There's already a conspiracy. There's already a conspiracy against my Legends races. That one's drilled.
Rusty deep left field. You know if he can, he'll go get it. Coughlin hauls it in. Lyle is erased.
Next day, folks.
3 outs for a Diamondbacks win.
Next day.
Oh, boy, that was quite a moment, wasn't it?
It was boring.
Best high-speed internet, blazing fast speeds. It won't burn up your wallet. Valley Hyundai dealers, time now for the 7th inning stretch. Your dollar. Hyundai, now the most fuel-efficient car maker in America. ValleyHyundaiDealers.com. Glad to have you back for the 9th inning. Chad Qualls takes over, looks to lock down this ball game. Great job by our entire production crew, all the extra work being done tonight for 80s Night. We appreciate all of you. Top to bottom, everyone stepped up. Best crew in baseball right here, our home crew, as that one sinks away to Cody Ross. And if we've said it once or 100 times, we still haven't said it enough. We love working with all of you guys and gals. You put up with Gracie, you know. The 1-0. 1-1 the count. And in this case, you put up with coordinating producer Mark Rita as well.
Thought that was a bit of a low blow to our friend Mark Rita, but that's okay.
Slider is high. 2-1 the count. Qualls' last time out a couple of days ago, 3 days ago against Chicago, was touched up pretty good as that one bounces. Qualls, bobbles, everybody's safe.
Oh, John Wooden, the great wizard of Westwood, the late great John Wooden, always said, be quick, but don't hurry. Right there, Chad Qualls gets in a hurry, takes it right off the forearm, and everybody's safe.
That'll be an error on Chad Qualls. Stanton over the inside corner. 0-1 the count in that outing. Qualls, by the way, against Chicago. 1 inning, 3 hits, 3 runs earned, and a long ball cost him. Before that, he had reeled off 1, 2, 3, 4 consecutive scoreless outings in a row. Pitches high and inside.
That slider's been hanging a little bit, Darren. See if he goes back to that good sinker of his and gets that ground ball he needs.
The 1-1. We talk about power. This is when we had Greg Schulte sitting in here with us. He put it in perspective. A right-handed hitter never hits it over that pool like that on the fly. Incredible blast. Bolt. He has hit just about every ball hard. That one rolls into the triangle. I've stopped the runner at third. Runners on second and third with nobody out.
Unfortunately, Chad Qualls getting into familiar territory here in the 9th inning. Belt-high fastball down the middle. Boy, is this kid, when he puts the good part of the bat on it, just leaves a vapor trail. Golly, hits the ball hard.
Paulino, Helms both have bats in the on-deck circle. It may be Paulino for Brett Hayes, and then Helms for the pitcher spot, Meyer. Ronnie Paulino didn't get to start. That's Juan Gutierrez warming in the pen. So it is Ronnie Paulino. And Gutierrez in the pen. Diamondbacks a save percentage of 53.3%. That is the lowest total in the big leagues. And they hope to start piecing the pen together more often, and especially they hope not just in the second half, but in the last 2 games of the first. And that's a good way to start it. Heavy sinker, strike 1. Ronnie was 0 for 4 in the ball game last night. .283, that puts him in the top 5 batting average for catchers in the National League. Right down the middle, no balls and 2 strikes. There you go. Just come hard charging. Veteran Wes Helms stretches in the on-deck circle. Bouncing ball, ground ball into center field. 1 run is in. Stanton will score on no balls and 2 strikes. He just made solid contact to the firm ground ball right back through the box. Beautiful hitting with a runner or 2, in this case, in scoring position. 5-4.
Yeah, it's beautiful hitting, but that's not the pitch you want to throw from Chad Qualls 0-2. That's just too much plate right there on an 0-2 pitch. Probably trying to bounce it. Instead, leaves it right there. And a nice job by Paulino. I would imagine Chris Snyder going out to try to give Juan Gutierrez a little more time down there to warm up. He's not ready yet. So it's still Chad Qualls' ball game.
Now, ready or not, here he comes. So Gutierrez had better get ready. Kirk Gibson Makes the call to the bullpen. Takes the baseball from Chad Qualls. Of the moment, and the heat is certainly coming down on these Diamondbacks. Out of the bullpen again. Stephen Drew, what a night. Just 1 for 1, but a couple of runs scored, 3 very patient walks. Was thrown out looking for that second stolen base. And now Juan Gutierrez with a runner at first, with nobody out. The right-hander out of Venezuela, Juan Carlos Gutierrez, goes to work. And he does so for the 32nd time this year. ERA up and over 7. And Wes Helms takes strike 1. The veteran looks at a curveball. As Gracie mentioned, he is 4 for 29, so not very good numbers as a pinch hitter. He does it a lot. Since 05, the most pinch hits among active major leaguers was 68. He pops it up towards that closed up roof. Clearly called the entire time was Abreu. And those arms out by his side. There's 1 out.
He took charge. I don't want anybody else to catch this baseball but me. He was adamant the minute it was up, as you said. The minute this ball goes off the bat of Helms, I mean, Tony Abreu's screaming the whole time, I got it. 1 big out. But now the top of the order coming back around there, and it ain't going to get any easier.
Chris Coughlin, Gabby Sanchez, and you hope that's where it ends. Reynolds on the grass at third. Went around, strike 1, says Joe West. And the Cowboy says, I've heard enough out of you, even if it was only 1 word. Much, much better, much more effective for Gutierrez, finding his confidence. As you can see, breaking ball, strike 2. 1 in his last 11 innings pitched. Has an ERA of 2.45.
Well, that curveball stays right on the inside corner. Beautifully done. 1 more big pitch to go.
Fastball, ground ball. There's Ryle. There's one. Good covering. Ball game.
Well, you talk about coming in and slamming the door. Juan Gutierrez, yeah. Kisses for everybody.
Well, that's good to see. We'll see if he's grabbing hold of that 9th inning. The Diamondbacks, when it falls, has it cleaned up. A man who's not supposed to be at first playing first starts it, Gracie.
Perfect throw, perfect relay, and a big fist bump from Juan Gutierrez. Nice job of getting over there and becoming the first baseman. It would have been a shame for this one to get away. The Diamondbacks played 8 innings of terrific baseball. Juan Gutierrez comes in and makes sure that they did get a much-needed win.
And boy, that was certainly good to see. By the way, Rusty Ryle all week long has been working at every infield position early with Matt Williams. That's the man who started the play. Let's get it on out to the postgame show. 80s style, dude.